Hi friends, so I'm back with my next video. In last two videos, we understood that how we can automatically generate the code to call the REST API, and after that, we actually discussed that how we can integrate with RabbitMQ, which is our I would say message broker for to enable the async flow. In current video, we'll be discussing about that how we can uh, pass on the payload which we got from the REST endpoint to the RabbitMQ. So this particular step would involve basically this whole thing can be achieved in 4 steps. One is that we'll be creating a struct for JSON. In second step, we would actually be writing code to unmarshal the JSON and map with the struct, map the values with a struct. And third, we'll be calling the function and then passing on the complete struct information. And then in the last step, we'll be marshalling the whole payload and we'll be passing on to the RabbitMQ publisher. So to start with the first step, so this was our API and this was the payload. So now friends, on Google we have so many tools through which you can easily, I would say, generate the struct. You don't have to write each and every words on your own. Rather just paste the payload. So this is the website transform.tool which I generally use for generating the struct. So if you see, I just pasted the payload here and just on a single click I got the full struct information. So it actually defined the all the tags, JSON value, JSON key and the type. So we can simply just copy the whole code and we have successfully generated the struct. Now moving back to our Visual Studio. So in last session, we were able to finish these two things. First is calling REST endpoint and second is publishing a dummy message, that is a static message in the RabbitMQ. So what I would be doing is, next is I'll be appending the same code with this struct information which we generated from the website. I'll put some meaningful name, say response body. Yeah. And the error which this is getting, because to support this kind of value type we need to import the additional package. So it's done. So we have got this thing. So first step is completed, that is we have successfully generated the struct for my request response payload. And then coming to the main function where we were actually calling the REST endpoint. So this is where we were getting the payload. Now what we need to do is we need to define this, say for example U, so response body. Okay, so this is done. Now we need to, I would say, unmarshal this information. So JSON dot unmarshal. Next is we need to pass on the request payload which is body, and then we need to map with the reference. So by this code, what actually do is it take the input from this, whatever the data or payload we have stored in the body, and it actually map with the struct payload. So it is a kind of, it actually unmarshal and make it readable, I would say. Now this is done. Next thing would be, we would actually be calling this particular function. Basically we'll be passing on the information to this function so that it can process that information and pass that whole payload to RabbitMQ. So we can simply do RabbitMQ, and in this we'll be passing on this u, which we defined variable here. Okay, now this is done, and here we are getting too many arguments in the compiler. Okay, let me understand what this error. So simply we have to write body and then response. I guess this will resolve the error. So what was happening is that here we actually call the function and we were passing on this information to this function, but here there was no this function was not meant to receive any input, so that is why we were getting error here. But when I added this information that this function is expected an input in this format, so the error is resolved. So we have successfully passed on the information to this via this small code. Now we need to remove this static information. So instead of here, what we actually need to do is we need to first marshal this information, because here we actually unmarshal. So to marshal that, JSON dot marshal and then what? So this is how we can actually unmarshal this information, and we, let's say am.body, we can define a new variable. We are getting error here, so can't initiate one variable with two. Okay, so what we would be doing is we'll be defining error handling, because in return it is likely possible that the function would not be able to, I mean, in case the function is not able to marshal the input correctly, then it will throw error. So we just have to do the error handling. So for error handling, what we can do is we can copy from this place and it will solve the purpose. So now this error is resolved. Now this we need to pass on. So we have successfully completed our code. We are not getting any error. Let's try to build this whole go.build. Okay, so we have successfully built this code. Let's run the code. And great. So this was the payload which we got from the REST endpoint, and after that we have got success message that message has been successfully published. Now let's go to the portal and see that what we have got. So this is the queue where we actually publish the message, and yes, we got one message. So let's see what's that message is. So here we have only one message, so get the message. Bingo. So finally we have got the complete message, the complete payload, I would say. Great. And just make it more readable. We can, what we can do is where is that message? Just copy the whole message and let's format. Great. So finally we have got the complete message which was expected. So guys, we have completed 3 levels. First is writing a code to call the API. Second is writing a code to publish, or I would say writing a publisher for the RabbitMQ. Third, integration between the REST API function and the RabbitMQ, which is completed. Now in my subsequent video, what I would be doing is I'll be writing a consumer which will consume this message and print on terminal. So thank you friends, thank you so much. I'll be coming with so many new things, and again, in case you face any difficulty, if you face any kind of problem, you want me to prepare video on any of the topic, please put it on a comment section. I'll be definitely taking the input from there, and I'll be creating the next videos as per your day. Thank you.